Thousands of tired, nerve-shaken, over-civilized people are beginning to find out that going to the mountains is going home, that wildness is a necessity. John Muir in his writings, Our National Parks. One of the most popular national parks in the United States, Yosemite in California, is visited by millions of visitors each year for good reason. Yosemite National Park includes nearly 1,200 square miles of mountains with high cliffs, green valleys, tall waterfalls, colossal sequoias, wildlife, and untouched wilderness. In this travel guide, Hipfig will share our own experiences and cover the south entrance from Fresno and points of interest which include Yosemite Tunnel View, BRIDALVEIL Fall, El Capitan, Half Dome, and the Yosemite Valley, including Yosemite Falls, Meadows, and Yosemite Village. We'll also cover other famous attractions like Glacier Point and Mariposa Grove in Yosemite. Welcome to Hipfig's Beautiful America series. This is the Yosemite National Park travel guide for people visiting for the first time to this great national park in California. There are 4 entrances to Yosemite National Park. Arch Rock entrance can be accessed by Highway 140, South entrance can be accessed by Highway 41, Big Oak Flat entrance can be accessed by Highway 120 on the west, and Tioga Pass entrance can be accessed by Highway 120 on the east. There is also a 5th entrance to the Hetchy Hetch, which just goes to Hetchy Hetch Backpacker Camp. The nearest big city to Yosemite National Park with a commercial airport is Fresno, California, and connects Yosemite by Highway 41. California Highway 120 passes through Yosemite west to east towards Nevada and is usually closed from November to May. From San Francisco, Bay Area, or Sacramento in the north, the drive to Yosemite by car will take 4 to 5 hours depending on traffic and road conditions. You can get to Yosemite by taking 120 East, the Big Oak Flat entrance, or Highway 140, Arch Rock entrance. If you're coming from LA or Southern California through Fresno, the drive to Yosemite will take about 6 hours depending on traffic and road conditions. Take Highway 41 north from Fresno to the south entrance into Yosemite National Park. If you're coming from Las Vegas, Nevada, Yosemite National Park will take about 8 hours by car. You can get there by Highway 120 from the only east entrance of Yosemite, which is the Tioga Pass entrance, or Highway 41 from Fresno in winter when Highway 120 is closed. Public transportation is also available from mid-May to mid-September to Wawona and Yosemite Valley via YARTS from Fresno Airport. Public transportation is also available via Amtrak or Greyhound through Merced, California. You can find more specific information at the YARTS, Amtrak, or Greyhound websites. We arrived at the Fresno Yosemite International Airport and rented a car. For your information, this is the nearest commercial airport to Yosemite National Park. We at Hipfig have also published a Fresno Yosemite Airport travel guide for arriving passengers. From Fresno, we took California Highway 41 north to the south entrance of the park. The two-way road curved and wound up the mountain. We were driving at a good pace until we were about 2 miles from the entrance. The line of cars waiting to get into the park was about 2 miles from the entrance on a Friday. The wait in line was about an hour. During peak times, the lines of cars can be longer. Arrive before 9 a.m. to avoid traffic. If possible, visit on a weekday and avoid weekends. Yosemite National Park is open 24/7 all year round. There is a national park fee for Yosemite National Park. Cars are $35 including all passengers up to 14 people. Motorcycles are $30 including all riders. And people arriving by foot, bicycle, or horse is $20 per person. People 15 years and younger are free. Travel tip. If you plan to visit any other national parks within 1 year, then we suggest buying the interagency pass, which will pay for itself with each visit to a national park. Once we got to the booth at the south entrance near Mariposa Grove, we showed our interagency pass and got a map and a newsletter. We continued on Highway 41, which turns into Wawona Road, and decided to go to Yosemite Valley first. We drove past the turn for Mariposa Grove and the Wawona Welcome Center and headed straight for Yosemite Valley, which took us about an hour to get there from the entrance. By the way, cell phone service is limited in Yosemite. You may not be able to receive texts or calls when you're in the park. Also, when you're in the park, drive responsibly. Please observe posted speed limits and use pullouts to take pictures. Do not block roads. On this two-way curved and winding road, we saw remnants of burnt wood from the past forest fires. On the way to Yosemite Valley, we drove into the Wawona Tunnel, also referred to as the Yosemite Tunnel, and right as you exit the tunnel on the left-hand side is the famous Yosemite Tunnel View viewpoint. This viewpoint is an iconic spot for views of Yosemite Valley. It also is very crowded and parking is very limited. There are designated parking spots on either side of the road. Be patient. People are coming and going all the time here. The parking lot was full, and so we waited a few minutes and found a spot and parked. There are so many people, but most understood that everyone should take turns taking pictures and getting out of the way to let others take theirs. There are a few oblivious tourists, so we recommend patience in these areas because the views from here should not be marred with bad feelings. The view of the valley is absolutely spectacular. You can see El Capitan and BRIDALVEIL Fall accented with Half Dome in the background. This viewpoint is just but a taste of nature's perfection inside Yosemite National Park. After getting our fill of the amazing sight here, we made our way back to our car and got back on Wawona Road. Our next stop was BRIDALVEIL Fall, which is on the right-hand side. Signs are clearly posted. We made a right into the parking lot, and although it looks full at the BRIDALVEIL parking lot, people are constantly coming and going. There is also roadside parking. There is no shuttle to this point, so you need to get here on your own transportation. Once we got into the parking lot, we waited a few minutes for a spot to open up. Once one did, we parked. At the parking lot, there's a restroom which I recommend using as there are not many restrooms until you get to the main Yosemite Valley area. From the parking lot, we walked the 0.5-mile round-trip easy paved trail to the 620-foot BRIDALVEIL Fall view. Unfortunately, because of its steepness, this trail is not wheelchair accessible. As we walked along the trail, we saw a creek and people picnicking and playing in the water. It was a nice walk to the fall. The sun was so bright that if you looked up, the top of the fall looked as if it was glowing. Once we got to the base of the fall, it was crowded with people. There was a viewing platform and a stream below. It was mesmerizing in spots, watching the water pound the rocks below. We saw many climbing up past the platform to the rocks to be near the waterfall, which is not recommended by the park rangers in Yosemite. The jagged rocks are slippery, and if you fall, it could lead to serious injury or death. Once we finished our time at the fall, we walked back on the circular loop to the parking lot and continued driving on Wawona Road. By the way, Wawona Road becomes a one-way road when you enter Yosemite Valley. There are a lot of pullouts along the road near the Merced River. We passed through the El Capitan Meadow and stopped at one pullout along the way to get a close-up view of El Capitan with no other people around. El Capitan, commonly referred to as El Cap, rises 3,000 feet from the Yosemite Valley and is famous for rock climbing. It was a peaceful and lovely spot to enjoy the view. After enjoying the solitude of this spot, we got back on Wawona Road to Sentinel Meadow. Parking for Sentinel Meadow is along the road. Sentinel Meadow is a must-stop in spring and summer. This easy, flat wooden, 1-mile boardwalk loop is absolutely stunning with views of the Upper Yosemite Fall. From Sentinel Meadow, you get views of Yosemite Falls, Half Dome, Glacier Point, and Sentinel Rock and the Merced River. We were there in July, so the wildflowers were mostly gone, but I can imagine how stunning it was. This wide meadow near the river is especially picturesque. It was a warm day, so not many bugs were out, so no bug spray was needed during this day. This trail is wheelchair accessible when there is no snow. Please wear sunscreen, hat, sunglasses, and bring water. It can get really hot here. When we arrived, there were people playing and floating down the river with Yosemite Falls in the background. This area near the water is the only tree cover on the trail, so it's a good spot to sit and have a snack and enjoy the view and water. We rested in the shade, and then we continued our exploration of Yosemite Valley. We passed the YARTS Bus depot near the parking lots and campgrounds. Parking was full everywhere in Yosemite Valley. You may need to wait for a while in the parking lots for a free spot or a designated parking lot along the road. The road is one way here, so you may have to loop around a few times to find parking. Things you should know about camping or lodging in Yosemite. Yosemite has several lodges and cabins through the park run by a private contractor, Aramark. Please visit their website for lodging descriptions, availability, and prices. Yosemite also has 13 campgrounds. 7 require a reservation. The other 6 are first come, first served. The ones requiring a reservation are the most popular. Most fill up on the day they become available. Please go to www.recreation.gov for reservations or call 209-372-0266 for more detailed information. Yosemite Valley is the most congested area in this national park. It's where many of the camps and lodgings are concentrated, as well as Yosemite Falls and the main visitor center, as well as stores and restaurants. We highly recommend not moving your car once you find a parking spot in Yosemite Valley and using the free shuttle. To get around the Yosemite Valley area, simply take the free Yosemite Valley shuttle, or you can walk to most places. You don't want to waste your time here trying to look for a parking spot. This free Yosemite Valley shuttle bus loops around eastern Yosemite Valley and runs from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. all year round. This free shuttle frequently stops at or near all camps and lodges in Yosemite Valley, the visitor center, and stores and major attractions like Yosemite Falls. We couldn't find parking at the designated visitor parking as it was full, but then kept driving around and found one in the Yosemite Valley Lodge area and then took the shuttle to the Yosemite Valley Visitor Center. The Yosemite Valley Visitor Center is stop number 5 and 9 on the free shuttle. The free shuttle runs every 20 to 30 minutes in numerical order. Stop 1 is the visitor parking. Stop 2 and 10 are Yosemite Village. Stop 3 is the Ahwahnee Lodge and the YARTS Connection. Stop 4 is Dagan's Deli. Stop 5 and 9 are the Valley Visitor Center and the YARTS Connection. Stop 6 is the Lower Yosemite Fall. Stop 7 is Camp 4. Stop 8 is the Yosemite Lodge and the YARTS connection. Stop 11 is Sentinel Bridge. Stop 12 is LeConte Housekeeping Camp. Stop 13 and 21 are the recreational rentals. Stop 13 is the YARTS connection at Curry Village. Stop 14 and 20 is at the Curry Village parking lot. Stop 15 is the Upper Pines Campground. Stop 16 is Happy Isle. Stop 17 is the Mirror Lakes Trailhead. Stop 18 is the Stable, and stop 19 is the Pines Campground. At the Visitor Center, we walked through an exhibit hall about the geology and wildlife in the park and watched the 23-minute film about the history of Yosemite National Park. Then we visited the Yosemite Museum next to Yosemite Valley Visitor Center. This museum features cultural history of Yosemite's native Miwok and Paiute people from 1850 to the present. There's also a reconstructed Indian village of Ahwahnee behind the museum. There are also other places to visit in the Yosemite Valley, like the Happy Isle Art and Nature Center, which features natural history exhibits. The Yosemite Conservation Heritage Center, operated by the Sierra Club, the historic Yosemite Cemetery, located across the street. The Ansel Adams Gallery offers works of Ansel Adams and the Ahwahnee, a famous hotel and natural historic landmark. There are also several restaurants in the Yosemite Valley. We went and walked along Yosemite Valley Trail away from the falls to Dagan's Deli. The food quality, value, and taste are probably the best I've ever had in any national park. Highly recommended to refresh yourself here before exploring more. After a filling lunch, we walked on Yosemite Valley Loop Trail to the lower Yosemite Falls. Signs are clearly marked. It's about a half mile from the Visitor Center. If you prefer to walk less, then you can take the free shuttle from Visitor Center to shuttle stop number 6. There are 2 trails to the falls. If you want to get up close and personal with Yosemite Falls, take the Yosemite Falls Trail, which is either a moderate 2-mile round-trip hike up to Columbia Rock or a strenuous 7.2-mile hike up to the top of the fall, which begins near shuttle stop number 7. We took the easy 1-mile lower Yosemite Falls Loop Trail. The volume of water tumbling to the bottom was amazing. From the paved loop trail, you can see the upper and lower waterfall and Yosemite Creek. On our return path back to lower Yosemite Fall Trail, there was a makeshift rock park where people were stacking rocks of all sizes to leave a mark of their visit. We didn't join in the fun as there was still much to see. We walked back to our car and drove out of the valley the same way we came into the valley on Valley Loop Road. If you take the fork towards Highway 120 East here, the most famous scenic drive is along Tioga Road, a 39-mile drive from Crane Flat to Tioga Pass. Here you'll pass the Tuolumne Meadows and Visitor Center and Pothole Dome. We didn't go on this side of Yosemite in this visit, as it would take another day or 2. We were on this side a few years ago, and it's definitely worth visiting if you have time. On the way back on Mawona Road, we took a left at Glacier Point Road. Signs are clearly posted. We drove up a windy Glacier Point Road to the Glacier Point. This area is picturesque and absolutely stunning. Don't miss Glacier Point in Yosemite. At Glacier Point, there's a large parking lot and paved wheelchair-accessible trail which leads you up to the edge of the mountain 3,214 feet above Curry Village on the floor of Yosemite Valley. Glacier Point provides out-of-this-world views and is the best overlook, in my opinion, in Yosemite. From here you get 180-degree views of many of Yosemite's famous landmarks, like the Yosemite Valley, Half Dome, Yosemite Falls, Yosemite High Country, and Vernal and Nevada Falls. It is truly breathtaking. Glacier Point Road is usually open from late May through October or November, and from mid-December through March for cross-country skiers. By the way, the road will be closed in 2021 for upgrades and maintenance. Glacier Point is the starting or end for several popular trails like the Panorama Trail, the Pohono Trail, and the 4 Mile Trail. If you would like to hike one way down to Yosemite Valley from Glacier Point, then you can take the Glacier Point bus tour. Tickets or reservations may be placed at any tour and activity desk in the park. For your information, there are also bus tours through the Yosemite National Park by private contractors, which offer the Valley Floor Tour, which is a 2-hour tour of Yosemite Valley, the Glacier Point Tour, which is a 4-hour round-trip tour, which you can also buy one way, the Grand Tour, a full-day 8-hour tour, and the Tuolumne Meadows Tour, which is an all-day tour. All bus and tram tours depart from Yosemite Valley Lodge across the street from the shuttle stop number 8. You can purchase your tickets online or call 888-413-8869. You can also visit the tour and activity desk at Yosemite Valley Lodge, which closes at 7 p.m. daily. Look out for wildlife near the meadows past the restroom area. On our way out to the parking lot, we saw a deer feeding along the meadows. We had one last spot we wanted to visit before we finished our visit on this side of Yosemite, so we drove down the scenic Glacier Point Road and made a left on Wawona Road towards Fresno. Just before the south entrance gate is Mariposa Grove Road. We made a left on Mariposa Grove Road at the sign. Private cars are only allowed when the free Mariposa shuttles are not running from the Welcome Plaza. Parking is limited at the Welcome Plaza Center and extremely limited at the Mariposa Grove arrival area where the shuttle picks up and drops off. If you have a disability with a disability placard, then you can drive up all the way to the Grizzly Giant parking area. Parking is very limited here and only available to cars displaying a disability placard. The free Mariposa Grove shuttle runs from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. We arrived in the evening when the last shuttles were returning to the Welcome Center. The Mariposa Grove of Giant Sequoias is the largest sequoia grove in Yosemite with over 500 giant sequoias. There is a wooded boardwalk and trails. The Big Trees Loop Trail is an easy 0.3-mile loop. This loop is generally flat and is wheelchair accessible. The Grizzly Giant Loop Trail is a moderate 2-mile hike past iconic trees like the Bachelor and Three Graces and the 3,000-year-old Grizzly Giant and the California Tunnel Tree. Guardian's Loop Trail is a 6.5-mile strenuous round-trip trail which goes further into the forest and includes the fallen Wawona Tunnel Tree, the Telescope Tree, and the Mariposa Grove Cabin. Once we finished our short hike at Mariposa Grove, we drove back on Wawona Highway 41 to Fresno, tired but refreshed with the wonders of nature. Yosemite is a good place for all and is one of the most beautiful national parks that we have ever been in the United States. Happy travels! Go to Hipfig.com for more information or go to our Hipfig travel channel on YouTube and be sure to subscribe for regular updates.